Good to be with you on this Thursday. Well, we're living in days in which we need to see miracles. But we have always needed to see miracles, but it's good to know we need them. We oftentimes can get passive and indifferent, not really believing that God can work, but now we know God's got to intervene. Things are changing. We need God to step in on the scene. And in the great faith chapter, we find men and women who faced enormous difficulties beyond what we can even fully understand, all the way down the line from Abel all the way through to the people of the latter part of the Old Testament that are mentioned in Hebrews 11. But right in the midst of this, we find Abraham, who faced the impossibility of his son's impending death. God told Abraham to offer his son, his only son, the son of promise, the hope that Abraham had for Israel to come about, the seed of Abraham to reach the world, and yet God said, I want you to sacrifice him. And we read in verse 17, by faith Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Isaac, and he that had received the promises offered up his only begotten son, of whom it was said, that in Isaac shall thy seed be called, accounting that God was able to raise him up even from the dead, from whence also he received him in a figure. Abraham was put to the test. God said, I want you to give to me not only a son you love, but the very promise that I gave you. And folks, we've got to be willing to believe that at times when we've prayed and we've wanted to see things happen and they're not turning out exactly like we want them to turn out, we need to be like Abraham. Abraham, when he raised the knife to plunge it through Isaac, he believed that he was actually going to have to kill his son. We know that from this passage, and that God was going to raise him up. That's an amazing thing. I cannot imagine what Abraham went through. Obviously, God provided a lamb. But we need to believe that at times when it looks like God is causing us to sacrifice things that are dear to us, that God knows how to resurrect. In fact, our nation has gone through terrible times, other times throughout history, and right now around the world, Christians are in situations that are very disappointing and very hard, and yet God turns it around, he raises up the situation, and he accomplishes his purpose. And we need to have that kind of faith. When we are tried, we need to count it all joy. And we need to know that God can make a tremendous, beautiful treasure out of what seems like a disaster. God can do it. He will do it. Now, we've got to be obedient. We've got to be spirit-filled. We've got to be doing all that we are supposed to be doing. But yet, God will turn the devices of Satan against himself and against Satan and accomplish his purpose. The one who rose from the grave, the one who's going to give us a bodily resurrection, is the one who will resurrect our dreams and take them further than we can even believe. When it seems like everything's crashing down and we're having to sacrifice what's important to us. So keep in mind that you serve the living God, the Savior who rose from the grave and can resurrect our dreams and our purposes to accomplish his great and mighty purpose.